Hey guys, welcome back to the Kool-Aid Podcast. Welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to be previewing our huge game against Bayern Munich tomorrow. Let me introduce my co-host Alex.
Hey guys, how's it going? Good to be back.
All right. Back for another episode. What are your thoughts on, before we preview the game tomorrow against Bayern Munich away from home, let's recap what happened this past weekend against Cadiz away from home. What are your thoughts on the game?
Well, like we were talking earlier, you were mentioning before the podcast how we saw the squad was heavily rotated, and we can see it from the starting 11 that Barcelona showcased. We have players like Memphis Depay playing, and it just shows that Xavi's being smart and he's resting some of our better players and saving them specifically for tomorrow, for the game against Bayern. And it was an interesting match. I wasn't very satisfied with the first half. I think the right term would be it felt like a preseason game, and it was just something that it wasn't enjoyable to watch. And we could see that there's a reason those players don't start for us, and the chemistry overall wasn't great. But ultimately the second half was much better and we got a great result. We also kept a clean sheet, and overall we can expect performances like this against lower teams that we know we're going to be putting our subs and just resting our starters, and it's just part of the game, specifically this season with how packed it is.
Yeah. No, like overall, as you said, it felt like a preseason game. A lot of these players, it was a heavily rotated lineup. A lot of these players, this is like their first run out, for example. This is Ferran Torres' second start of the season. Memphis Depay's first couple of minutes in La Liga. Gerard Piqué, his first start in La Liga. Hector Bellerin, he didn't have a preseason. He was injured during the summer. He's coming back. He started. Frankie de Jong also started. Overall, it was a rotated squad against Cadiz away from home, who we haven't won in the past couple of matches, the past couple of seasons as well. And on top of that, with a team that defends as low as they do, you need to have fluidity in your attack, fluidity in your play, and it's just basically like these players are getting up to speed. Xavi is rotating these players because we have a huge game on tomorrow, on Tuesday, at the Allianz Arena. Mm-hmm. And it's important that we got the 3 points while resting the majority of our key players. But I was very excited to see Balde and Bellerin start on the right-hand side. Just because we don't have a right back, and seeing Bellerin a natural right back, and he's a player who Barcelona has always been linked with. You go back to the summer of 2016, 2015, Bellerin was heavily linked with Barcelona, and the move never materialized. But he's now finally back at Barcelona, and I'm excited to see what he brings.
And I wanted to ask you, how would you rate his performance, Bellerin's performance?
I mean, it was solid. It was solid. It wasn't anything spectacular, but that's what you want out of a right back. You want a solid performance. I think it was a good debut for him, getting minutes under his belt. As I mentioned, he didn't have a preseason, and this is his first start. He's getting back up to speed, and I think it's the only way up. Like the only way up is from here.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at some of the match stats, and we're looking at 71% possession of the ball in our favor, which is typical against teams like this. We also saw 16 shots on our end compared to their 6, and we had 8 shots on target. So half of our shots were on target, and it's just we had like I said, we have a 50% conversion rate. And to be honest with you, I think even though yes, a lot of these shots did come in the second half, we do see that even our subs are creating a chemistry within each other and within the starting players, and it's not just the starters are the only ones that can play well. Even though they're subs, they're still playing relatively well, and they had their mistakes and they had their lack of fluidity at times, but still it's surprising, and it's good to see that the bench is playing well, and it's something, like I said, that's very important because now we have Bayern, but even weeks where we don't have, I would say the weeks where we don't have important games are just as important as the weeks we do.
Yeah, exactly.
Because those are the weeks you gotta win, but you gotta know which players to rest.
Yeah, exactly. Those games count. We have a very long season, and we have to utilize every single player in the squad. Yeah. But I was another player who played really well, other than Bellerin, who gave a solid display, was Alejandro Balde. I thought his performance was very good. He There's a controversial call in the first half where he's fouled in Cadiz's penalty box and wasn't awarded a penalty. It was a clear push. I believe it could have been given, but his displays were prominent. We're gonna see if he starts on Tuesday, and Xavi has some very big decisions to make. It's gonna be a very tough game, and a very big test for this team. Another player who gave a very good performance, I think, was Rafinha. You saw his quality. There were moments of brilliance in the game. He hit the post in the counter, and then he also took some very dangerous shots. And we're just gonna see how he progresses.
Yeah, and he's a player that I've always liked, and I love his play style. I love how he just controls the game on that right side of the field when he does play there, and he's just phenomenal to watch. His crossing is great, and he's just he's a major enemy for the defense. He's always gonna be there, and he on that right side of the field, and he's someone that not only can pass the ball well, but he knows how to move well in between the players, drop in between, receive the ball, create space, create chances. And he's just a very solid player all around. The only thing sometimes that I wish he did more, well, he's Brazilian, so he's prone to do the tricks, but sometimes he loses the ball. It's the same with Dembele. Not as bad, but sometimes he just loses the ball on good attacking opportunities. But when he's on, he's on.
But what I do like is that Rafinha's work rate, he has a better work rate than Dembele.
Right. No, and they're different players, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So Dembele is a little more versatile, I would say, because he can play all over the pitch. Rafinha's still great. He's just I think he's just more comfortable there on the right side, especially considering that he's left-footed. So, overall, I love him as a player, and I just want to see more of him. I'm surprised though. I would have thought a few months ago or a few weeks ago that he would be starting right wing more than Dembele, but from the looks of it, Dembele is going to be our main man for the big games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in the second half, Xavi brought on Lewandowski, Dembele, and Pedri all. And on top of that, Fati. And he also gave Marcos Alonso his debut in the second half. It was a very mixed half because at the 84th minute, unfortunately, a fan received a heart attack in the stands.
Yeah.
The game was stopped momentarily. The players went back to the dressing room. Thank God the fan is all right. They got the attention needed. And then nothing bad happened, and the game resumed afterwards. And afterwards, you saw Lewandowski pick up a goal and 2 assists, as well as Ansu Fati get on the board and Dembele get on the board. This is important for the team to gain confidence ahead of what big game is on Tuesday.
Yeah, and it's important that even when he subbed, Lewa's always making an impact. He's scoring goals. Yeah, and I believe he assisted Ansu Fati, no?
Yeah, exactly.
Very, very unselfish play too.
Exactly.
He was 2 on goal, but he saw him making the run
because he could have won all by himself, and he didn't. He laid it off to Ansu Fati.
Yeah, and then that was the right call. I love seeing that from a striker. Not being too selfish either, and knowing when there's great opportunities. And Ansu Fati, I love seeing him play, and I really hope he can stay healthy because man, I see a threat up top.
Yeah, exactly. But overall, it was a decent performance. Barcelona's continuing their good run of form, and the most important thing is we got the 3 points and we rested some players. That's what matters.
And we saw how strong our defense has been, even though we started PK and we started Bayern, who again until the game we didn't know how well he was going to perform for us. So it was solid, and I love players like Balde. I completely love the way they play. And it's just amazing to see how our team is playing right now.
But all right, those were our thoughts on the Cadiz game last weekend. Let's move on to the blockbuster game it's going to happen tomorrow. Big test. I think this is the first big test for Xavi, and this is going to be a game that I think all the players are going to be up for. It's going to be a very monumental game, not only for confidence, but it's going to send, I believe, if Barcelona compete and win or even win, they're going to send a message to the rest of Europe saying, hey, we are here to compete. We are here to win. And this is going to be a huge boost if we do manage to win.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's been a game long awaited for us, Culés, and for many other coolies around the world, it's been a rough couple years. Some strong defeats that we had against them, and the morale of the team has just been terrible when it comes to the Bayern games. So, given the current form and seeing how strong our team is and how united they are and how well they're playing, I think we're gonna give Bayern a run for their money. I personally think we're winning that game 2-0, 3-0.
Yeah, because when you look at last season, when we were in the same situation, when we were put into when we were in Bayern's group, you saw in the first leg, Barcelona did not compete at all. They came to the first game was against Bayern in the Camp Nou. They came, they dominated. We had Luke de Jong and Memphis up top. Yeah. I think that was the game where Pedri got injured, and it was a very, very poor performance. Koeman saying, "Hey, this is what Barcelona is at the moment." There was a terrible attitude. The morale was so poor, and then when Xavi came in and they played that second game, the last game where we needed to win to reach the knockout stages of the Champions League, we lost 3-0 again in the Allianz Arena in Munich. And Xavi said, like, hey, this is a work in progress. Barcelona are still not ready to compete, but Barcelona has to work to be the best in the world. And looking now, I think it's a radically different outlook. I think right now the mentality is that these players believe, the staff and the coaches, everyone, and even the fans, that, hey, Barcelona is now going not to see, okay, how many goals is Bayern going to put past us. It's going to be like, hey, how many goals are we going to be able to put past Bayern? How many goals? How tough are we going to make it for Bayern Munich? I believe everyone's going with very high confidence, and I'm very excited for this game. And it's fantastic to feel this as a fan.
Yeah, and like you say, it's very exciting. And when we look back at last season, we were a completely different team. We felt like a mid-table team, the way we were playing, and the attitude, it was just terrible, how you were saying. So seeing how much the morale has grown and how strong we are right now, I think we have a great chance of beating them. And my prediction is, like I said, a 2-0 us or a 3-0 us even.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask you this: what would be your lineup for tomorrow's game? How what would be your starters? What formation are you going to be picking? How would you approach the game?
Well, in my opinion, I think our formation should be, the 4-3-3 we're using. We should have Ter Stegen on goal, obviously. Balde left back, center back Araujo. The other center back would be Eric Garcia, and the right back would be... and I think for right back, it would be good to put Koundé. Given the past performances he's had, they've been great. So my back four, Balde, Araujo, Garcia, Koundé. Then in the midfield, I would put Pedri, Busquets, and De Jong.
You wouldn't have Gavi in there.
Well, Gavi is not traveling for the UCL squad.
No, he's in the UCL squad.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I would... The thing is, I would start Gavi, but at the same time, I think I'd rather have him as a sub.
You would much rather have him as a sub?
Yeah. Okay. I think let's give De Jong a chance. He's been playing well lately. Mm-hmm. And then up top, I will have Ansu Fati, Lewandowski, and Dembele. And if needed, I would sub in... Yeah, and if needed, I would sub in Rafinha.
Uh-huh. Okay, well, personally, I think tomorrow's lineup picks itself. I think, it's going to be... This is a big call. Starting Alejandro Balde at left back, that's a bold move. Because when you think about it, he's a youngster. And we're going to see if Xavi's going to stick to his guns, or is he going to bring in the veterans, bring in Jordi Alba, who in these big games crumbled. Or is he going to start Marcos Alonso? We're going to see. Yeah. But I think Ter Stegen picks himself. I think the back four is going to be Alejandro Balde, Eric Garcia as a left center back, Ronald Araujo as the right center back, and Jules Koundé as that right back. Moving on to midfield, I think this is, once again, I think it's going to be Pedri, Busquets, who is the anchor, who's vital to our team, and I think Gavi is going to start tomorrow. Just because we're going to need his work rate. We're going to need him being very physical in front of these players. You see in all the big games, Gavi is the one who started in the game against Sevilla, the first game of the season. I think that the starting midfield for Xavi is those three, and up top I think it's going to be Rafinha, Dembele, and Lewandowski. I don't think Ansu Fati is going to start this game. It would be a surprise. I believe Rafinha is going to be there just to provide that width and to provide that work rate. But there has been some rumors that Xavi is thinking of adding a fourth midfielder for this game. And if that's the case, I wouldn't be surprised to see Frankie de Jong in that interior role, and then see Gavi pushed out onto the left or onto the right. Well, we're gonna have to see what Xavi does if he decides to go with the 4-3-3 or bring in that extra fourth midfielder.
Yeah, I mean, it'll definitely be an interesting match, but again, I'm very comfortable for it, and I think we're gonna get it.
No, yeah, exactly. I'm going into this game very confident, in high spirits, and this is a game that Barcelona fans are up with, because when you look in the media and everything, you see how the Bayern players, the Bayern sporting director, Kahn, Muller, Nagelsmann, all these players are saying I feel they're disrespecting Barcelona. You see Nagelmann's quote saying like, "Oh, where's Barcelona coming with this money?" Muller saying, "Hey, I like playing against Barcelona," and Kahn saying, "Well, Barcelona," and then their former CEO. I believe all those comments. I think these players have to go into this game wanting to go for the kill and wanting to make a statement. I think the desire to win is there for the players, and it's going to be a huge game. But we also have to remember that this is only 3 points. If Barcelona win or if Barcelona lose, this shouldn't determine what's going to happen for the rest of the season. For example, if Barcelona win, we still have to keep our heads level. And if we lose, we have to stay calm. It's not either doomsday or, hey, we're going to be winning every single trophy imaginable.
No, of course.
We have to stay pragmatic, and we have to keep our heads level. But not taking away anything from the game. If we do win, this is going to be a huge morale boost for the team, and it's going to be fantastic for what's to come for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I'm just excited to see how it'll be tomorrow. But again, very hopeful, and God willing, we get a great result, and we just keep on like that.
Yeah. So what do you think Xavi's going to approach this game? Because when you see at Bayern Munich, they've picked up 3 draws in their last 3 league games. They went away against to the San Siro. They won 2-0. You saw how Bayern Munich was struggling these past couple of games to break down low block teams. Against Barcelona, with both teams who like to play with a high line, and both teams are going to have open spaces to attack on the counter. I think this is going to be a game decided on details. For example, if a rebound or someone makes a mistake, I think it's going to be like that.
I mean, it could, but this is the thing. Bayern Munich don't have a strong 9.
A strong 9. Yeah, but they do have some flexible, like up top, the players can rotate in and out.
I understand, but I think the main goal threat up top is Sadio Mane.
Mm-hmm. Sadio Mane.
By far. He's just, I've seen him at Liverpool for many years now. He's a solid player. But it's just that he's someone that at Liverpool I saw it, and I don't know how he'll do at Bayern, but he has inconsistencies where he'll be great dribbling, he'll be great just moving the ball around, but then when it comes to the finishing, he can sometimes suffers. It might not be like that, so we have to be careful. But I think ultimately we have the greater goal threat. We have Lewandowski, their ex-player, and we just have players that can feed the ball to him and can score themselves, such as Ansu Fati and Ousmane Dembele. But I think it's how you're saying. It's gonna be a game of who makes the least mistakes. And, we'll have to see. I think ultimately, though, with the new team that we have, we're going to have much better ball control and we're going to have better chances. We just got to be careful on the counterattack because they do have players like Kingsley Coman, Sadio Mane, who are very fast and can make an effort and can make an impact quickly,
No, yeah, exactly. But as we said, I'm very excited for this game. What I am worried about is on that right hand side, where Balde is going to be defending. We're going to see how Sadio Mane or Leroy Sané is going to attack that. We're going to have Dembele and and Rafinha or Ansu Fati if you start going and helping defend. We're gonna need everyone to be working extra hard, and on top of that, having a player like Lewandowski up top, we just know that hey, we give him the ball, we can create some very dangerous chances. Just it with Lewandowski, it changes the whole the dynamic of the team.
Yeah, Lewandowski is just a player that, how I've said before, he can hold up the ball so well and he can make so many chances for the squad. He's one of the most complete nines in the world, and he's showing it now, even at an older age. And the way he's been playing, passing the ball to others, creating chances for himself and for others. He's gonna be a pain for the Bayern defense.
Yeah, exactly. His overall play really impressed me because we always knew that he was one of the best goal scorers and one of the best clinical strikers out there. But when he came in Barcelona, we've seen his overall play, his whole link-up play, his build-up play, and it's really surprised me. It's and that's gonna be vital for this game. And also another thing that we have to mention is Ter Stegen. Ter Stegen in the big games in the past couple of seasons hasn't been up to the standard that was required. And we're going to need Ter Stegen at his best to be able to win.
That may be true, but I would also like to point out that while Ter Stegen may have been inconsistent in the past, we've also had a poor defense.
Yeah, exactly.
And a defense that has a lot of chances. Mm-hmm. Now, and also, I do want to say, this season, at least for what's been, he's been consistent. He's been great on goal.
Yeah, so having, if Ter Stegen is at his best and can make match-winning saves, I think Barcelona has a much greater chance of winning, just because in the big games he hasn't been up to it. But tomorrow's a big game. We're gonna have to see how this team performs, and what's most important is that Barcelona competes, regardless of the result. If we tie, we lose, or even if we win. What is most important is that we compete and we leave good sensations out on the field. Because this is why we've invested so much money. This is why we invested just to compete at the top. And for Xavi, this is the first big test of the season.
Yeah, and a thing that I like is that he's showing the confidence, he's showing the leadership that we need. Something that Koeman never did, or Valverde, or the other coaches we've had. He's just showing that the desire to win and that hunger that Barcelona had for so many years, and that we continue to have as a club that is always contending for the greater trophies. And I just think he's gonna show us tomorrow how much he's done with the team and how necessary it's all been.
So before we round up today's episode, what are your predictions for the game? How do you think it's gonna turn out?
Well, I'll say it again. I think it's gonna be 2-0, 3-0 in our favor.
Okay, I think it's going to be a Barcelona win again. I'm going to go bold. I think it's going to be a 3-1 win for Barcelona in a stadium where we haven't won, and then where we've only won twice in the last 13 encounters with Bayern Munich. I think it's going to be a very fascinating game, and I'm very excited for it. But that was it for today's episode, guys. Leave a like, comment. What are your thoughts on tomorrow's game? Do you agree, disagree with anything that we said? And we'll catch you guys all in the next episode.